go. Hey, we're here. Applause worked. You guys applauded, clapped. I wanted to build excitement. I said, let's clap, and when we'll show up, and there people are clapping. So here we are,
Oh
guys.
wow, it worked. We're at
Oh, it did work.
We're at 60 frames a second at 1,578 kilobytes per second. If that tells you anything, then you're good. Maybe. Can you hear us all? Is everything
Yeah.
good? Let's double check. There we go. Good.
They can hear us. They can hear us.
Well, this would have been a great previously on Trekyards time to have like to start playing old clips of us previously on Trekyards. Dum.
Joseph Petrick puts in €2.
Ah, crazy man.
I have to clear my throat because he says, "Say hi, Trekyards." Hi, Trekyards. Say goodbye, Spock.
Hi, Spock.
Goodbye, Spock. That was awesome, man.
It was like a
I just summed up the episode. That's the end. So bye, guys. Eugene puts in 500 rubles. Well, first half of this episode was so bad it took me 2 attempts to watch it. Multiple painful cringes. SQL injections, forge forests, teal and orange so strong it almost made my eyes bleed. What?
What's an SQL injections? Forge forests I can give you, but although that said, the Forge is a desolate wasteland, but we can assume she didn't get 100 miles in. She's on the absolute outskirts of it, where I'm sure the most trees are. I don't think she got, on foot very far. But yes, it should have been, the colour palette for that Vulcan scene was wrong. It should have been more orange for sure. And it also, Talos has the wrong colour. Obviously, it's, different time of year, different sun, but, simple things in the colour grading. It was very quarry rather than browns and...
You say hoary? Oh.
Quarry.
Hoary. That was a little hoary. All right,
What?
so nothing.
What?
Are you going to share this around or what?
Yeah? What?
Do your thing. Do your thing.
Very confusing. Right, bye.
Yeah, so... anyway, so I think there's somebody here for me, but that's okay. Anyway. Guys.
Hold on. First picture, the Enterprise 1701 Constitution class. I just thought I'd start on a high note.
And I want to point out that it's not the remastered, it's the original effects. They didn't go remastered on us, so they even, are paying an homage to the one that's in the Smithsonian. We're seeing it on screen here, saying that it's established canon, or just a visually different one because Pike's visually different. But anyway, it was a nice touch for sure to see that. I was really impressed with this. Usually, my complaint. Usually, it's previously on. I don't enjoy watching those, but this one was quite good. Quite good indeed. The Midnight Edge conspiracy theory is dead. Okay then.
No, because they could just buy the right. Well, whatever. There's so many layers. That's why we don't talk about it.
Yeah. Polish GMR puts in £5. In my opinion, this is the best episode so far, and I love the intro recap they did for this episode. I'm going to kind of mirror that. My score is pretty high for this one. I really enjoyed it. I really did. It was a lot of fan service and stuff, but I think it was so well done. There are, of course, a few issues or errors or whatever, but I mean, it's as we've said, all Star Trek, even the best Star Trek, has some issues. So
yeah, I wouldn't say it's best because it itself isn't a self-contained story. This is just like it's like going in and watching part 7 of a Dominion War story. It's like that's the best episode. It's like, well, it's part 7 of 12. I mean, it's and for me, some parts are certainly weaker in this episode. So I think on average, are better episodes by quite a lot. But certainly it's got some good bits, but they're all payoffs for other episodes. So I wouldn't say it's the best episode. It's probably the least standalone actually of the season so far. It's the most like continuing.
It's one of the best, sure.
Well, it's one of the most consistent, and it shows that they can do canon better than they've ever done before, which is a first, apart from DSEM.
Canadian Starship says, when I saw this, I thought Space Channel had made a mistake. So did I. I just figured that the show hadn't started yet. It was just their typical bumpers or trailers for the Star Trek that they air every week. But quickly realized that it wasn't, which was fine. So it's good to see a fellow Canadian in here. There's probably a few of you, but I didn't miss much if they only started 5 minutes ago. Yeah, we haven't really got into it yet. It's just the hellos and whatnot. So you didn't miss anything in Landy Lancaster. So there you go. 142 people watching already. That's amazing, guys. Hit the like button, which those likes up, because that's always helpful. Any analytics, any interaction is helpful. So this week's episode was a bit DS9 episode-like in some ways.
I'd say it's more TOS, actually.
Yeah, I didn't get a DS9 vibe from it, really.
Maybe just a fist fight, but, I mean, Kirk fights things all the time.
Yes. The stream freeze for anyone else. Yeah, it looks like the stream is frozen on my end, actually. Hold on. Let's hit refresh. Frozen for me. Oh, wow.
Fine for me.
Okay, good. Oh, there we go. Now it's good. Yeah, so just hit refresh if it freezes, guys. So, anyway. So yeah, it was really nice to see. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, and do watch our edited review, which we just put out. Always fun to, go look.
Yeah.
Got all the graphics.
But it was great to see. Yeah, it was great to see the original Cage stuff in the beginning, and like I said, not remastered stuff, like untouched original footage was really cool.
Although it's still nice in high def.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I like the planet.
Get to see the classic bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get to see the classic, good-looking bridge without all the, preschool crayon colors that exploded in the. I prefer the blacks and grays of the Cage. Although the gooseneck screens can go.
We got to see the plants again and Vina. And that. I mean, it is weird to show though, like the older what it looked like originally. This is what you're striving for, and then to see then the visually reboot update version. It's kind of a slightly jarring in a sense. Like they could have, like they were pretty close in this episode, closer than they've been before, but it was kind of a little bit weird. But yeah, it was a charmingly fun intro. It wasn't just clips. It was all 3D with motion graphics, and it was a pretty comprehensive look at all the different things. They didn't quite explain who Vina is, although she re-explains. You see multiple versions of her, and yeah. And then I do like the end shot, Pike to Pike. It's like, oof.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
And Pike's got more grey hair in his last 3 years than he ever had in Cage. He's aged a bit.
Oh yeah. Mega Nutrabite puts in £2. Angel, not Burnham. They are dead in Angel's timeline. Okay, well, we'll talk about that. We have a video or two coming out this week that addresses some of those issues. So
yes,
watch for
stuff
those.
To talk about.
Klaatu Barada Nikto, great name,
yes.
Puts in $5 Australian dollars. I hope the haters don't kill Discovery like they did Enterprise. I wish they would give it a chance to play out. Agreed.
Although I don't think it was the haters, it was because social media wasn't a thing there, so it was just less people watched because the show wasn't as good and it lost its fan base. If it started at season 4 quality, it would have had a huge fan base. You start a show at high quality, you can continue to start at lower quality, then goodwill only goes so far. That's why Beyond got so bad, because each film had less and less goodwill with the audience. So they can get some people back from season 2 being good, but boy, I have to make season 3 even more canonically good to make sense.
But this episode was nice because sorry.
No, that's fine.
I was gonna say this episode was nice because it starts out with a Pike's personal log. So instead of Burnham, now we have a Pike log, which was cool. Still not a captain's log, an official captain's log with a star date, but personal log. Very well done. And that opening establishing shot going into the Section 31 ship really annoyed me. The upside down camera tilt thing, just why is that necessary? I think it goes back to the Alice in Wonderland thing. Down is up is down. Section 31 isn't what it seems. Ooh, magic.
Well, they're also an upside down agency. You know, they don't go for true values. I don't know if you noticed though, there is so many ultra wide angle shots in this all the time.
There's a lot of fisheye lens going on.
A lot.
Yeah, I noticed that. A lot of fisheye lens, a lot of lens flares, a lot of blown out backlight in this episode.
I mean, the lens flares were mainly to do with the Telosian stuff. Mainly. But yeah, I mean, this shot I'm on now with Spock and Burnham on the shuttle, skipping a bit. I mean, that fisheye is exceptionally wide. So this is very... Yeah. I mean, it does feel... The whole episode feels a bit weird and distorted. Which it didn't necessarily play too much on Telosian's distortion of thought. I mean, they could have been a villain in this episode, and luckily they weren't. But yeah. And guys, do comment anything. But if you want us to actually read your comment and address your thought, because it's quite an interesting episode, then do super chat any amount between $2 and well, whatever you want. We'll read a comment. The more you give, the more you can comment. And it's kind of like the accumulation of small amounts. Is really helpful, or lots, whatever you want.
Yeah. So we get this opening shot of them, the Admiralty talking to Pike. We got an Andorian, we've got a Vulcan, we've got a Tellarite, a human in the back.
Not Pike. That's Section 31 people.
Oh, Section 31. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Just in a redressed.
My bad.
Crew quarters. That's black. A black ship is very inefficient because you can't see as well. It should be black on the outside, normal on the inside, really, but then it wouldn't be obviously Section 31. So it's one of those classic. Like a mirror isn't actually a mirror. You don't actually need like the Earth mirror symbol flipped as a mirror. It's not actually a mirror. It's not actually a clever thing to do. But yes, the Admiralty. Are these the mirror admirals? Is this the guy that is this the same Andorian that was the one in season 1? I assume so. Is this?
It appears like it. It does. Just saying.
It's the secret tribunal that decides everything in Section 31.
I thought it was either so many admirals knew about Section 31. Well, it could be like a conspiracy theory thing. I know. But yeah. I love the tension here between Leland and Giorgio, and how Leland's about to speak up, and Giorgio, the admiral's like, no, I was asking Captain Giorgio. They called her Captain Giorgio, so I'm wondering how many people also know she's the Emperor. Because I don't know if all the Admiralty would know that. I think a few would, and of course some of the Section 31. I don't think everybody does, because it was brought about like, look, Captain Giorgio's alive. Now she's retired. And in Section 31, so I'm interested to find out how many people actually know what's actually going on with that.
Although, to be fair, she's an ex-emperor. They gave her an honorary rank of captain, so it wouldn't be appropriate to call her Empress Giorgio. She's not an empress. She's now a captain. So I think there is...
They would just call her Giorgio, I think. I don't think she
was
has
given
a rank. And...
Yeah, they reinstated the other person. She's
That's why I think they think she's the captain. Somehow survived. I don't know. It's just odd. I don't know who knows what. So.
I just think if you imply Section 31 is as good as they are, they all have to know, or they're the worst non-secret. You know what I mean? Like it would be flawed of them not to. But I don't think it matters too much. No. But I like they represent the major four races: Tellarites, Andorians, humans, and Vulcans. So the Vulcan was quite emotional. She was a bit snarky. I was like, you're not the best Vulcan I've ever seen. I'll be honest, but. But it's a Section 31 representative Vulcan, so...
Yeah. Joe Wright puts in $2.
Thank you.
Different Andorian, not Shakar. So it's a different Andorian.
Looks pretty similar, but that's okay. We only got a medium shot, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Another.
So this is where they... Oh, sorry. You're going to say something?
No. That's that delay. There's that pause of who's going to speak, but there's a delay in the Skype transmission. And
yeah, it's kind of annoying sometimes. I don't like cutting people off.
Today it's been worse as well, I think, actually, as well. I think I had a slightly more delay.
I know. I've noticed.
Yeah.
This is where they tell Giorgio to come up with some reason to not fill Discovery in on what's going on, to kind of stall for time. So she messages Pike and says, you guys need to comb through the debris field to find pieces of that probe. Maybe we can get a hint as to why it was trying to download the database. So, I mean, that's a perfectly acceptable solution. However, they go back to Kelpia or whatever the planet is called. I can't remember. Kaminar. Don't check to see if everybody's alive from the time tsunami. They don't mention it. There's not even a line of dialogue like we speculated there might be last week.
I mean, Saru doesn't even mention. By the way, Captain, Kaminar is not destroyed by the time tsunami. Good one, Saru. We'll move on. It's like, I mean, they're so focused on the internal story that they forgot that, as someone said to me after the episode, if they just had that time quake thing be out of the solar system, we also wouldn't have to enter the planet. So it's just a bit weird that we don't care about. And Saru doesn't feel like he cares, even though he just made an entire revolution. You would think that would be a major plot point, but it really isn't. They don't care anymore. Eugene
puts in 150 rubles.
Cool.
Those admirals sound so AI-like. Well, they do talk about the artificial intelligence algorithm and how she doesn't trust it, and who her universe, Giorgio, told the AI what to do, and Leland's like, yeah, and how'd that go for you?
That was a good line.
Which was a good little snarky line. But they do sound kind of AI-like almost.
And Mac Lee says, hey, why aren't the admirals wearing the new uniforms?
That's a very good question.
Because they did it for marketing.
Those are reserved for explorers.
But really,
on Constitution class ships.
But really, they didn't. They did it for marketing. Knew they have one episode, they never use them again because they're, 2 episodes. But they're just dumb. It's just dumb.
Mega Nutribite puts in £2. Section 31 secretly on machine's side rely on computers. Skynet, anyone?
Dumb. And what did you think of this back to the Giorgio and Leland play about, obviously she's slowly taking over this branch of Section 31 and undermining him, and he's looking weaker and weaker, and
I kind of love it, to be honest. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of Giorgio. However, this episode I actually liked her. All the interactions with her were really well done. It's like they're changing her character a little bit, which I'm fine with. I thought she was great in this episode, so... But yeah, I do like the subversive nature of how she's kind of making him look bad in front of the Admiralty, or at least relishing in the fact he's looking bad. So it'll be cool to see how that plays out.
Yeah, they've changed her character into the chess master, who's controlling events rather than going out and murdering everyone like Space Hitler, which is what she was. So they've radically changed the character, but that's okay. Needed a change to be a character. Although I do think her manipulations are a bit on the nose. There's not much subtlety when it comes to her. In the universe it's more subtle, but to the audience it's like blatant and, not forced, but really on the nose with what she's doing. And we'll see where that goes, because Leland's just a shooter, honestly. What does she bring to the table, really? I mean,
well, exactly.
Oh, and also this is the next scene. Pike asks Tyler, are you on board? Do you ever have a thing with Burnham? He's like, no, pure professional. But did you? Yes, I was in love with her. And then he breaks it down in a very interesting way. I guess things really have changed, is the vibe I got.
Yeah. Baz T says, check PayPal.
Ooh.
So we should... Baz, if you have a question or comments, let us know in the chat. If we don't see it, the mods will let us know, because if you donate via PayPal, of course, it's better than YouTube because they don't take 30% off the top, which is great.
$5.07 Canadian. Tilly says the failure of the Spore drive is because of the corruption in Duotronics. A Richard Daystrom tie-in, which was nice.
Yes, it was cool hearing about the Duotronics.
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, PayPal's good because we get 100% almost of that.
Yes.
And it's nice. We don't get Tyler and Pike anti each other. They've now got professional respect. They don't like each other, but it's up that level of understandable respect, which is good.
Yeah, Pike says we've been through a lot together recently, you and I. So tell me what's going on.
Well,
it was well done. It was well done the way he explained it, I think.
Although it felt a little, not forced again, but like that just happened like 30 minutes ago. We've been through a lot, you and I, in the last 45 minutes. It's like, there's a great normally a setup needs a payoff, and some amount of time has to pass. There's an episode of Doctor Who, which I hate because it's an episode where they introduce the idea that you can create living replicas, and at the end of the episode, they've just introduced it. One of the main characters turns out to be a replica the whole time, and it's like, but you just set it up 36 minutes ago, and now it's a payoff. And then that gets us to the next plot point. It's like, oh, that was not earned at all. And so have them be friends after one thing that happened an hour ago and saying, oh, of all of our adventures, that one time, God, our bond. So I think they forgot what didn't happen last week a little bit because it was a little bit too much.
Hackle makes a good point. I hated Pike saying, this is my ship. No, dude, your ship is the most important ship in all of Federation history. I noticed that too. Second viewing, I was like, this is my ship. Well, yeah, it is. You're in command right now. But I was thinking the whole time, I was looking around the room he was in, his ready room that's huge. And I'm like, does he have different feelings for the Enterprise? Is it more like connected to him? Because it's not really your ship, man. You're just kind of there for now.
And also you're half command with Saru as well. He's meant to be another half command. So you're, temp captain with half duties.
Yeah.
You can take ownership, man, but the Enterprise you're on for like 6 years, so you abandon the crew of. Anyway, then we get this really good visualization of warp, because warp is a streak in space from the engines, which are streaks of light. That's how warp looks, right? Streaks of light from engines.
No. Oh, there's a better warp thing later. Yay! Which doesn't look vaguely familiar to anything else we've ever seen.
It looked like a comet. It looked like I was just like, oh no, they don't understand again. Like, I know it's meant to look cool, but it is dumb. Because also warp isn't about, the ship isn't moving, it's moving the universe around it, but it's like got jet fumes through the warp engines. Yeah. It's like, this don't understand. Why don't they understand? Why don't they try? Don't get it. They not care about things making sense visually.
So no, they don't. So this is where the computer says, travel is prohibited by the Starfleet in the Talos system, but no mention of the death sentence. So I'm wondering if they're just ignoring the death sentence because it seemed a little excessive even in the 60s, but it was more like 1960s culture. I wonder if they're just kind of dropping the whole death sentence thing. Just travel is restricted within the Talos star group.
Because nothing...
Starbase... Starbase 11 is 2 light years away, but that's another issue that we'll get into later.
I mean, that's like, 5 minutes of warp?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not... warp effect from Star Trek Beyond was the best effect, I think. It's the least warp, though. Might be most real, but it's at least warp.
Yeah.
Probably has to legally look different to the Orville. Yeah, it's true. Orville just looks like warp. Why does the Orville's FTL look literally like warp? That's funny. Yeah. That's funny. Don't forget they had streaks of the light from the nacelles in the TMP era. That was them entering warp. They didn't
entering warp.
Oh no, it was during warp as well, wasn't it? I guess in 6 and stuff. No, there was.
Oh, in 6, yeah.
Yeah, but also it was also streaking from the shuttle bay, wasn't it? Like it was 3 streaks. I could have sworn.
Oh, that was the impulse engines are also streaking. Yeah.
Not sure. So it's light streaking, not.
It's Star Trek Online streaking is what it is.
Yeah, but
which
again,
looks cool. It does look cool,
but again, 2 case studies when you've got like 200 around it that don't do that. It's like go with the overwhelming evidence that warp looks like what it looks like.
Anyway, it's warp. They're not going to fix it. They got that stupid warp tunnel. They got a hyper.
Hopefully, Picard shall do proper canon from the start. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Or I'll just keep doing it in fan films.
Yeah. So then we, of course, come out of warp, and there's a huge black hole, and you called this last time we saw the preview that it's an illusion, and I'm like, yeah, it's clearly an illusion, guys. Yes. I love how Spock like slams it down and then pushes her back, and she like fights him, and he's like, boom, that is it again. And the look on her face, the one you used for the thumbnail for this, is beautiful. Oh my God, we're gonna die. You think she should have You think she would have, at the last second there, when the structural integrity field was going to die, at 1 second she'd be like, "I love you, Spock," just to kind of get that out in case
I really
they do
hate
die.
this beard. Ah. Yeah.
But yeah, well played. And then I love the way the illusion shattered.
Yeah.
Like,
That was pretty. That was real pretty.
and then Spock just sits down. And then she says, "We really are on the other side of the looking glass." And he kind of does this. He goes, it's almost like, "God, you're still on about that stupid book.
Well,
Not everything is a metaphor, Burnham."
Well, I mean, that was his book as well. Remember?
I know, but just the way that his reaction, like, "I'm tired," kind of thing, just, it was well timed for that. That's all. Joseph Petrick puts in €2. Death sentence in Federation sounds dumb anyway. I totally agree. But
Yeah.
should be banishment or something to somewhere. I don't know.
Or just special ultra prison. I don't know.
Yes.
So I liked this scene because in the trailer I called it because there was a single frame and I was like, that's so abstract, it's got to be an illusion because there's no it makes sense. But as a visual, this is one of those few times that they could throw something visually incredible in that is such a cheat. Because how the hell could they ever get away with this normally? But it was such a good use here, and it's obvious, but it's real pretty and really well done and executed. Although, fighting Spock was really quite funny. Yeah. I do think they're acting like that face. They're looking at not even a green screen. They don't even do a reverse shot. They do a one, but I guess it's a green screen. But their acting is very genuine. Like, it's not always because in the Orville, the last battle episode, they're this massive battle. They're like, shields are lowering. There's no connect with what's happening. This at least has a good connection. Then the effect's beautiful. And Talos, then we get to you with his slightly undone sweater, very dark, moody. All of the faces.
He sees Tyler walking through the hallway for the first time, and then Stamets says, "At least I'm with you. I wanted your first time to seem to be well. I don't know what it should be like, but anyway," it's basically what he says. "And I'm going to make a formal request to have Tyler's quarters moved to a different deck because you shouldn't have to look at him every day."
Yes, because if he's 50 meters further away, that makes my murderer all more dealable.
Yes,
they shouldn't both be on the ship. Whatever. But he's so. I did like Wilson Cruz. I think in this scene is so, at the same time,
badass.
Well, at the same time, has zero charisma and yet lots of charisma. It's a really odd performance. You can feel he's soulless, and yet so wrapped up in what he is and isn't feeling. It's a very interesting performance. Also, no performance.
Yeah,
but
hard to pull off. So Steve Farr puts in £2. So TOS was just a Telosian dream, and Star Trek Discovery is reality.
Nope. I mean, no?
Yeah, no.
Ooh, Flavius V. Flonter. Star Trek Discovery is better than Star Trek Enterprise. No. At least they tried. But they had 5 times the episodes.
It's getting there. It has the potential to be better than Enterprise. This episode, I think, was one of the steps towards that for sure. More tying in with canon. When you use canon that's already established and you use it properly, it works.
But that's the problem with this, that we're giving them credit for stuff they should do anyway.
I know that.
Well done, you didn't F up Telosians. Well, if they did, then they would be betraying Star Trek and why they're Star Trek. You know what I mean? That if it was any other show, you'd expect it and wouldn't give them praise, you just enjoy it. So I think it's kind of sad that we have to give them praise for doing the least effort basic stuff and yet still visually rebooting it. Whereas Enterprise, you see a warp effect, it's just warp. You see a torpedo, it's a torpedo. You see, when they showed the torpedoes in Expanse, I don't think at the time you were clapping saying, "Oh, they got phone torpedoes right. Yeah, look." It's like, well, yeah, they did phone torpedoes. You know what I mean? So it's a weird standard to have. But yeah, it's true. Give them credit, but that's why I say they can't be better than Enterprise, because Enterprise really tried. These guys are, doing a few things right and giving them credit. But damn, look at Wilson. He looks athletic and angry and not happy. Not happy. Yeah. God, look at that fisheye. Jesus. Oh, the bridge. That's what I mean. It's all this weird stuff.
Yes. And this is where we find out that they're not finding any remains of the probe in the debris, just the shuttle. And he tells Tyler to go talk to Tilly, and Tilly's like, "Hey, come into my office."
Great line.
It's good. Yep. And she's talking about the cephalopod, and he's like, "What's that?" She goes, "It's a big ass squid." I'm pretty sure she said big ass squid. Pretty sure I heard that correct. But yeah, no probe fragments found at all. Just shuttle debris. So that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, and this was how you use Tilly. She's clever. She's not the center of attention. She comes in. She does something smart and funny and intelligent. That's how you use Tilly. Perfect. She was absolutely spot on this episode. And the fact that we also saw, there's been a distinct refocus on, what's the robot's name? Elysium.
Arium.
They are. I knew the name. They keep showing her way, more and more and more. Should be a huge focus for next episode. But they make a point of showing her type stuff in a future scene. That's clearly what, something's happening. But my interpretation from this is that, she's actively reprogramming the sensors to not let them detect the debris of the probe, / not let it be beamed in. So she's actively sabotaging it because she's smarter than people. She can access computers. She's not being seen.
I actually didn't get that vibe, but that's interesting. I just assumed that once the time tsunami thing closed, that everything from a different time would disappear or suck back through. That's kind of the vibe that I got, so I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Just joining its quantum realm.
But they didn't even mention the time rift again. Like if that was implied, they didn't even. It's like, did that close the residue? I don't care.
Yeah.
And where are the Bowians?
Stephen Fathry puts in $2. I already like Discovery more than Enterprise and Voyager. Yeah, everybody has different tastes and stuff, so that's absolutely fine.
I certainly prefer Voyager, but that's me. I like ship's tech and sci-fi. So yeah.
So then we get them landing on Talos, and again, it's just a quarry. It would have been nice to see the structure with the elevator that's been sheared away that was in the cage, just in the background.
I'm doing a comparison now. The old Talos, which was obviously a sound stage, had a very brown hue, very, very mountainous, very distinct, very sandy. That's how Talos has been. But then now it's a small quarry with rocks and no mountains.
It could be the other side of the planet. It could be a different continent.
Sure, but by that same logic, you've got one point of reference. You might as well make it look like a point of reference. Otherwise, it's like on Vulcan. Oh, well, in the 3rd month of Bartizan, the sky looks blue, not orange. And in this one district, we have purple forests of tulips. And then you shoot there, and it's like, oh, this is Vulcan. It's like, but nothing about it looks Vulcan. It's like, but it's Vulcan.
Well, they kind of did that in this episode with having trees on Vulcan.
Yes. But you know what I mean? It's very, very quarry. That's why I said in our review, I think they ran out. I think it's one of those budgetary run out of money. Like, we've got the quarry, it's right nearby. The shuttle is a quick, easy CGI effect. Dum, easy. We haven't got money to do anything elaborate. There's such a clean line of rock that adding a mountain range, mountains, would add so much. And then you put the one from the episode in the background, and it's like, oh, cool, they're there. At least we got Vina, so at least we got some of the stuff. Although she was more plot important than not. But I was surprised how different the vibe was to what we saw. Again, you show us the two side by side, or you show us this one, say, which planet is this? And you say, well, it's Earth. You wouldn't say this was Talos 4 at any point ever until you get the flowers. And you can tell they literally made these 2 flowers and put them in front of cameras and, right, this is our field of flowers.
Yeah.
But they do exist.
But anyway,
that was a great little moment.
The ambient noise in the atmosphere was fantastic. The singing flowers. just really nice visual update.
Yeah.
And oh, we got Eugene puts in 350 rubles. Sky, ground, water, skin, everything is blue. That's no Michael Burnham timeline. That's Michael Bay one. I was so happy to see some red color in the second half of the episode. Yeah, it was kind of washed out and bland, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. She goes out and checks around, and she touches the flower, just same as Spock. You hear it, the vibrating stop. Nice smile on her face, kind of calling back to that scene, which was fantastic. And then we see Vina entering the shuttle.
Yes. So I also called, but I appreciate how early it was and how just... Although this isn't really Vina, it is telepathic Vina.
Yeah, projection, yeah.
Which is cool. Walks in with this interesting dress, and there she is with a very poorly lit scene. It's like everyone's so... Like, every time you see her, it's just, like, backlit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so... that's why... I think that's why they introduced the shutters as well, so they don't have to green screen the... You know... Because this set is on the soundstage, they just put the shutters down, which they invented for last episode, and they shine a light at it, and now it's outside. It's like, just put the green screen and have the... No, okay. Because the lighting's awful in the scene. But I like her approach to Spock, even though I don't... Like, do we assume more happened after Cage? Because she'd maybe met Spock once at the end for 2 seconds? Maybe fake Pike mentioned Spock, but she wouldn't know Spock. She wouldn't trust Spock. She wouldn't...
Well, she'd have all of Pike's memories that the Telosians took out of his mind and put into her mind to make her live the reality of living with him. So he would, of course, talk about Spock.
But you know
that's the vibe I'm getting.
But you know what I mean? It was a bit weird. Like, she never actually interacted with him. So she's like, "Oh, Spock, hello," and it's like, "Hello, do I know you, Svina? Oh, you were the woman I met once."
Sure.
Yeah. But it was good to see her. Even if she didn't necessarily feel like Vina. It's still Vina.
It wouldn't be the woman I met once. It's the woman I met on the planet that was crazy, and I definitely will remember you. You know, it's one of those situations that you would never forget. So
yeah, I mean, did meet you at the start as the before everything went down, I guess, for those few seconds, and then they beam down via shuttlecraft in the pre-TOS era.
Even though it doesn't look like a transporter thing at all, it looks like an airlock. But whatever. Not a big deal.
Yeah, and this is the problem. I would be fine if they'd been more canon appropriate, and then Section 31 ship comes in, and that shuttle can go to warp and can beam. Be like, oh damn, you know, they're holding out on us. But if everyday shuttles,
people are complaining that we're nitpicky in the chat, but we absolutely love this episode. I thought it was fantastic. But we do this with every episode, so sorry. No.
I mean, it's a good episode, but there's little problems.
Yeah,
that's fine. You know, and it's not nitpicking. I think if we've got a reason, then it's not nitpicking. It's just this is a slight problem. Here's a slight thing, and we normally try and resolve them as well. You know, like you talked about Vina, I was about the, you know, all the bits and bobs. They beam down. A nice quick way to get to the next plot point, because it was you know. And I'll give them full credit. Apart from last week, for some reason, every episode is around the 55-minute mark. And last year, they were lacking in the freedom of time. So I appreciate there's now long episodes, because I'm getting more Star Trek. I'm getting more content. And it didn't feel like a 58-minute episode. It really didn't. Like it was a well-told, longer 3-act structure.
Yeah. So anyway, they get there, and this is where we hear that in some ways Captain Pike never left, because she's been living out the fantasy with him, I guess. Captain Foley, did you like how Spock continuously put Burnham in her place? Yes, even though she put him in his place once, which we'll get to. And this is where we find out that Spock is experiencing time as a fluid and not a linear construct. So that's why he's wonky.
Which I thought was a great just line. just as a concept. You know, he's unhinged from the reality that he lives. It's nice.
Yeah. And this is also where we get the reveal of Vina, what she really looks like, even though we don't really see her because of the backlighting.
But we can digitally enhance it, as I did in our review.
Yeah, and it's not as good as the original makeup, in my opinion.
Although it is quite close, she's still got the same scar on the mouth. I mean, it should be identical. Like, there's no reason at all it would look any different. So again, I shouldn't give them credit for replicating it, but there is the same scar there. The cut, there was the same scar, but it's certainly. I mean, she had a massive hump as well. I mean, she looks like.
Well, she did the lifting the shoulder up thing to kind of show that, but
she could just be like weirdly shrugging. Didn't have anything the same effect. Just looked like she was hurt a bit, because the whole point is that she was put together from pieces. Like, she's a Frankenstein creature of broken human. Here she just looks like a person, but looks like just someone who's scarred a bit. So it didn't quite work.
Yeah, I mean, they said they gave her the choice to live the rest of her life as she is or as she was, even though she was born basically right before the crash.
Yes.
So they would have had to fix a baby.
I thought that was
funny. Which makes sense that they wouldn't really know what to do considering all the other dead bodies around. It's like, oh, these aren't really the same. All right, well, we'll fix this thing. So you want to live life as a baby. Because the way she worded it was like, "Can live life as I am or live life as I was." It's like, okay, well, you never knew what.
Why are you wearing red lipstick if you didn't know what people look like? And
well, that's because, yeah.
No, although she learned obviously from Pike, but yeah. I did think this Venus stuff was like, this would be not necessarily her biggest shame, but it seemed very, very quick to go to this extreme. I guess it's to let them trust her, but since everything's an illusion, you know what I mean? It's like they could illusion Burnham to do what they want. It all seemed a bit like Cage approached like this really dark, sad thing, and here it's like, let me show you my face. Can we? Yes. Okay, there we go. Trust them now. It's like, oh, okay. This is very, like, ironically, this was a less dark episode than Cage was. Like, Cage was more serious and dark than this. But Cage was kind of serious and dark, so.
Yeah. Then we get a vision of what was supposed to happen to Michael Burnham. She was supposed to die originally, and then the Red Angels came to Spock and said, "This is where she is." And of course, he tells his parents, and they take a shuttle or a ship to find her, and they stop her death. So, again, we got other videos coming out talking about some of these issues.
The biggest problem is that we want to talk about it, but we've already talked about it for like 25 minutes, and I don't want to talk about it again. Like, I'm burned out.
Because we talked about it earlier today when we were filming,
and it was a really great discussion. So it's kind of like, do we have to talk about it again? But simply put, this scene tells us that when this is an alternate timeline because Burnham has been saved. She was meant to die originally, and so this is the post-Burnham saved timeline rather than the original TOS timeline where Burnham was meant to die, and that's why they never talked about her. So this is a separate alternate timeline to one we knew, and that single save, that single choice is part of this grand plan to save the future where all the Federation major member worlds get blowed up. And that's a little bit later on, but yes.
He made the point to say the angel changed your fate.
This is what could happen, not this is a possible future, your fate, specifically.
Yeah.
So, we'll talk about that in the full episode. It's a good episode, so please do. And this is where they do mention the Forge. It is a bit weird that the Vulcan Forge is just a forest. It's like you already have a quarry.
We don't have any desert. We don't have any deserts here near Toronto, so they had to film somewhere.
Well, yes, but it doesn't mean just film on the quarry again, but color grade it to orange.
Yeah, well, I agree.
That would be enough. Like, this should be the Telosian homeworld, because then just say they made it nice with Vina. You know, like that I could buy more. Wow, it looks so pretty. It's like, yes, the illusion. Ooh, it's all dead. No, it's fine. But yeah, we're finding into Spock's brain. The Telosians are very willing to help. Very, very willing to help. I think they owe us a favor or two from, capturing, imprisoning, bad things.
Plus, they want to hear the experience that.
Yeah,
Michael
why? I don't understand why that was their payment. Why was that a thing beyond the we need to show the audience now?
No idea.
No idea? Okay. It seemed very forced.
It did a little, but she said, even Burnham said, "Is it for your entertainment?" Which it could be, because the Telosians need to learn about humans, and that's something that, even though they're brother and sister and care about each other, the fact that she did that, I think it helps them understand human nature a little bit better. Maybe, I don't know. It's kind of the vibe I got, but Spock goes on to say that the Red Angel guided him to a remote planet where he mind melded with it. Now, because it's wearing a suit with some quantum energy because of the time travel, he didn't get a full picture as to what was going on. But he ends up seeing
Yes.
Earth, Vulcan, Andoria, and probably Tellar by the looks of it, destroyed in the future by these
2750s.
Yeah. Warships or probes or whatever they were.
But it is weird because they are the same probe design, but I think that's just them reusing, because why would you build a separate thing? And each one fires 4 missiles, and they each then zoom off in their own direction, and then it shows lots of red bursts. That was interesting, and each time it cut somewhere else, so I'm actually guessing that that's telling us that they are sending weapons through time as well. Because the red burst specifically is how the Red Angel travels through time. So it seemed very odd to show the red burst. Because the red burst meant the Red Angel. I guess it could be the Red Angel, because if that's what it's showing Spock, it could be it moving the memory scape, and therefore but it felt like kind of like it was implying it was they were sent through time portals, and so it killed them at times that worked or didn't work. Because it'd be a bit redundant to kill everyone in the 2750s. Like, well, just why go back to the 2250s to save everyone if you can just do it in the 2650s? You know, so or maybe it's their plan to go and send weapons back, you know, earlier. I don't know. Yes, they all go boom, very very boom.
Yes. So, and I got to point out too, if you're watching on Canadian television, this is something I noticed. It was 23 minutes before the first commercial break. That's like almost unheard of. Usually the first commercial break comes a minute or two after the opening credits. So I was eager to get the hell up and do something, and I was waiting for a commercial. But anyway.
And did you think at all these might be red matter torpedoes, like linking to the JJ stuff? Not like to that specifically, but I mean like using that technology, because everything's red, you know?
Didn't think that actually, but now you've gone and unscrewed that up. Because now I'm thinking maybe there's one picture that looks kind of like red matter-ish. Yeah. Huh. No, I didn't think that. And I love how Spock's like, and now you see. Alex Mackey puts in 2 pounds. Burnham can't be Red Angel. Chicken and egg paradox. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We got a whole video coming out about that.
Tomorrow. Not tomorrow, I mean Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
I really like this fern shot for some reason. How abstract it is with Colbert. I guess it's how small he feels, how unimportant, how removed from reality. We're seeing, you know, the mirror from season 1, and he's just so removed from it. It's a nice little visual metaphor. And we get a really hard scene to watch, actually, I think. And you, as a fan of this couple, of their chemistry, I mean, what do you think watching this? Probably the end of their relationship, give or take.
It was harsh. It was really harsh. He you know, Stamets has put on some music and made his favorite meal for him and whatever. And it's funny because we were sitting there watching it, Sylvia and I had a Twix bar, she had a Snickers, and she asked for a Snickers bar during this scene. And as I was handing it in front of the TV, it was a picture of Hugh being all like, you know, and I almost wanted to take a picture of me handing out the Snickers bar to the TV and get Hugh behind it. Hugh, have a Snickers. You're not you and you're hungry. Because he just wasn't himself. And so, anyway.
And 300 people watching, guys. Awesome, awesome. 0 dislikes, which is weird because we've got 7 yesterday in Orville. So start liking this video, guys. It helps in our analytics while we are live. So please do. 303 is awesome for this early on in the day as well. I guess people like this episode. So please do click the like button. We want to get 100. I mean, we want to get at least 250 likes by the end of this this live. So start liking. Thank you.
Yes, please do.
Tim Theo, no spoilers, please. Yeah.
That's exactly what this live stream's about. You better click away.
And the focal Neth, it's stale on radiation. It wasn't red, it was green. He was saying it wasn't red matter in Nemesis. He hasn't seen Nemesis in a long time, I'm assuming.
They're on radiation.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, this was a hard scene, but I appreciate this is an interesting direction they're going in. He basically is a different person. As I said this in our review, but it's a brand new full body. It's not a clone, it's a new iteration of this structure. And he's just had his mental energies integrated into it. But it's a different body. It's a different, they even said his cells are all new. So he hasn't had these experiences. And obviously, your strength is now reset to your peak 20s. So now lifting a plate feels different. Your favorite soup, your taste buds haven't had the degradation of, of decades of taste.
And you don't have the necessarily the instant that you realized when you were younger that this was your favorite food necessarily in your memory with that lined up with everything else. So that's kind of the vibe I got from that anyway.
But it's like Stamets is, his job is basically redundant now. He's there if you need him, but he's the spore technician chief. They don't spore anymore, and so he can make a nice dinner. He can just hang out, and I was kind of funny that because he's being so unlike he was like, I don't like this. You're not being yourself. How do you expect me to feel normal when you yourself are being too nice? And he's like, but I want to love you. I want you to love me, and it does turn this storyline with them really does start turning on a dime of like, this is not. Because
Hugh makes this point of his senses and his feelings don't connect with the food, his favorite food,
or anything.
And Stamets is like, well, maybe it's just neuralizing shock Hugh, and Hughes goes off on him.
Yeah.
And then Stamets says, "Why are you so angry with me?" And he says, "You know what, Paul? That's a good question." And he storms out of the room.
Oh dear.
It is a little rough to watch. I mean, I like these guys. I like both these characters. So it's, I didn't want it to turn out this way, but who knows? Something might change. They might get back together at some point. Tim Theo puts in $2. Thank you very much, Tim. But yeah, that's basically it for this scene.
Also, someone, Barry C1701 just put a comment down. You want to read that? Barry C1701.
I already have the Foley model well in 3D anyway. Cool ship. Yes. Well, we know who that is. It's very Chapman. Yes.
I feel like he's probably a little bit biased on that.
I got the resin model of it, so there you go.
I think he's biased. I think Barry is biased.
No. Anyway, next scene is Tyler and Pike. And
what happens in this scene? Don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though.
Yes. This is when he's talking about how he's trying to justify, the fact that Section 31 has a mission to get Spock. And he actually says, when we're not in our right minds, we're not sure what we're capable of, kind of referring to him and Spock. And then Pike says, I can believe that about you, but not about Spock.
Yep. Yeah.
It was a very short scene.
Yes. But this is a symptom that I had not a problem in this episode, but I don't think the balance was quite right. That as it went on, these smaller scenes, they kept cutting away from Talos, and I'm like, that's the meat. These other scenes are starter and side meal. It's the garlic bread with the pizza. It's like, I mean, you're not going to keep biting the garlic bread when you've got a big pizza in front of you, unless you do a little palate cleanser we said earlier. And so these sort of kept going on, but in reality, the Talos stuff was so well balanced that it wasn't overdone. They didn't go into too much. So if they'd done more, it would probably have ruined it. If they'd done less, it would have been a cop out, and they couldn't have focused the entire episode on it because they can't risk it. so it was the right balance. But these other things I don't think were strong and as strong as they could have been. And this scene I think was definitely spinning its wheels a bit.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
It was short. It was short though, so that's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. But there's a couple of scenes like that, and once again you have the lots of light coming out of window, which is a problem in season 2.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite make sense, but that's okay. Whatever.
Maybe each window has like lights outside that you can turn them on to replicate sunlight in your quarters. I don't know, but anyway. Next scene is again the fisheye lens, long focal length, whatever. But getting the explanation of how somebody's sending out large, unauthorized, encoded transmissions. There's been 3 of them so far.
They were huge transmissions. Worth notingly huge.
Yes. But that's another quick scene. And then we're back to Talos 4. And this is great, this conversation where she's asking him questions. Those are rhetorical questions. Well, at least ask me something I have not asked myself, he says.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, do you think that beard is actually working? To which he's like, gets self-conscious and touches the beard. I thought that was fantastic. That was great.
It's a very sharp scene. I mean, this is kind of like the... not in a... I mean, is it not like in Generations finally having Kirk meet Picard? Like, what is their first true scene? Does that make sense?
We got another super chat too. Pat's Malambella puts in £2.
Thank you.
Hugh is the Red Angel through his mycelial connection. Maybe that's where all his feelings are in the Red Angel.
Don't think the Spore Network would like that. He was the beast that killed lots of things.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the hero of TOS in essence, finally meeting the hero of Discovery. And I think they played it very well. The impetus could be to make Spock weaker than Burnham, stupider. That's a classic trope in a lot of films, is you make one character weaker to make the other one seem smarter without actually making them smart. And when I write things, I just write everyone smart, because a scientist in a room with a I don't know what's a good not McDonald's worker, but like a restaurant person, right? You talk about science, one's gonna look smarter than the other, and then you ask the scientist to make a really A-class pizza, it looks like crap. It's like, context is important, so you shouldn't just weaken a character by strengthening another one. You show they're strong in different ways, But I certainly liked. I felt the tension, the drama of these two. I mean, this is the first time we've seen her in years and years, although he's obviously clearly been aware of what's been happening in the last 2 episodes of how he saved her and stuff. So it's not as if there's no like, hello Spock, hello Michael, because I've already had that for the last episode, just hasn't been able to properly talk about it. But it was a good scene. And I like the use of a single set. It's very dark. It's very like, again, I think they're saving money in this episode by being clever art design, but I think they're definitely trying to save some money, which is they spent the entire budget this season pretty much in the first 5, and this is the cheaper half of the season, so I think that makes sense. Although it took away their need to have like 1,000 Telosians, like just have 3. All you need is 3. That's good. Don't overdo it. So they're low budget can make smarter decisions.
Yes, this is the scene where we find out that there's a quantum field surrounding the suit when he mind melded with it, so he only got a few images, but he sensed loneliness and desperation during the mind meld. So that's very important, I think. Matthew DeFreitas puts in $5. Why does Pike entertain Taylor's debate? He's a liaison. Liaisons are middlemen. That's it. And each time Pike talks to Section 31, it's not through Tyler.
Because the actor has to have stuff to do.
And because Leland's a friend of his, so it's kind of like, talk to somebody I know and I don't trust you, Tyler, 100%. So I don't trust him either, but at least I know him.
I think because he has to be there. I mean, that's the thing. They had to have stuff to do,
Victor Garza puts in $2 and says Tilly is the Red Angel. Really don't think so. But all right.
And so now part 2 of the memory investigation, and we see, and again, I called it right from the start that he didn't kill them instant. Go back. I've had a lot of pretty accurate predictions this season of like the core little reactions to stuff. I do actually quite like this scene, although it took me out of it because this lady is from Battlestar Galactica. I'm like, that's the lady from Battlestar Galactica. Just she's like a doctor from that. I think she's also in Stargate as well. She's like a known Canadian like side actress. But it's a decent scene, although the menace comes across very early on from her, from the build up to they're coming, Spock, you can't leave. So it doesn't it doesn't quite play. But I like he's not crazy yet. I like that, it's a good build, and we I know you looked at the review, the interview as well, but we watched one with Spock, Nimoy from the 60s or the 70s saying, Spock doesn't do violence because he thinks it through. He actually, wrote out a fight scene in the first script where the Vulcan neck pinch was needed because he did the neck pinch instead. And so I was very intrigued to see what this fight was going to be. And if you look at it, he's actually neck pinching everyone. It's not actually a fist fight. I watched it a couple of times. While he does kick him once, it's kick him to move him to then get the neck pinch to then spin the other guy to do it's 3 neck pinches, and then he ends it being a lovely little pose of serenity and oh, that was a Vulcan maneuver. So it isn't actually a fist fight. So I really appreciate it was a maneuver to get 3 neck pinches in. It wasn't like punching him. So I was very well done for keeping that consistent a little bit.
Yeah. This is another scene though where lots of fisheye lens in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
They also say he believes that the 7 red spheres, orbs, whatever, are. He speculates they might be an attempt to communicate.
Mm.
And then he's like, "It was a mistake to come here. I must leave." She's like, "You can't leave. Section 31 is coming to take you to a better facility." And then, boom, that neck pinch time. So, yeah. And I loved how he says to Burnham too. Even in my mind, you doubt me. You doubt my character. Do you see murder here? And then he walks. But she was in her right to ask because she's been told all along that there was 3 murders committed.
Yeah.
So did somebody come kill these people afterwards, or was that just all a lie? Are these people actually dead? We still don't know what's going on with that. So.
Oh, my guess is the Section 31 guys that found them all lying unconscious just shot them all. I was like, damn it! Went to the security cameras and looked. And Ian Warrender, one of our amazing admins, very generously says, if we get 300 likes, then he'll super chat 10 Great British Pounds, which is like $13, which is quite a lot for a super chat. So we're at 179 likes. We're over halfway there, guys, with 315 people watching, which is amazing. So let's get to 300 likes, and just by clicking the like button, you can help us get another super chat, which will help us keep the show going for another week. 179. So yeah, please start clicking that like button even more. Thanks so much in advance.
Yes. Joe Stahl puts in $5. Vina wasn't a baby. Number 1, there was a Vina listed on the expedition as an adult crewman, now adding 18 years. That's true. You're all right. But when they first run into Pike in the landing party, the older gentleman says she was born almost as we crashed. So that's what I was remembering. But you're right. Number 1 does come in and say that later. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But still. Let's see, where are we here?
Oh, that's interesting. Someone said they think that Discovery is at least learning quicker than Enterprise about their sort of canon mistakes.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
I disagree because still all the visual stuff is all wrong. Like adding a transport, they're throwing more in all the time, and they're not fixing the one the visual stuff. Just visual stuff's important.
There was a lot of canon issues with Enterprise though. If you're an older Trek fan, so.
But that's not canon. That's side canon. That's always the problem. It's it's not actually.
But no. Yeah. Anyway, the Colbert Tyler incident, as I penned this, is fantastic.
I have lots of screen caps just to enjoy the.
Yeah. Yeah, he comes in and whips the food against the wall and. Mm-hmm. Hey, how's it going? Last time I saw you, we had an issue or something. And it's like, oh, that was Vok. Oh, really? We'll bring him out. Mm-hmm. Let's play. Let's tangle. Oh, it's not that easy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He does say I'm sorry though, in a genuinely, nice way.
Yeah, I gotta say though, for a trained Section 31 agent, and an ex head of security,
And an
and
XX Klingon.
yeah, he doesn't fight very well unless he's holding back because the Hugo's pretty good on him, and
Oh no, I got the impression he was just countering. There was no like I was expecting him to lose control and be like, Patak, go Klingon.
and
But he
snap
was
his neck again. Oh man,
did it
No,
again.
no.
Spores, help. No, he was actively not fighting back. Like he was, because he has no leg to stand on. Like I killed you. I'll let you beat me up. Oh, did you notice that Colbert held his own neck at one point?
Yeah, he was like this. Yeah,
Without that was, and you can tell it was like it was an acting choice, but the character's not realizing he's doing it. It's a subconscious tell. This is a really dark and yet super bright scene.
Yeah,
it was good. It was raw. I think it's a good word.
and I love how Saru's like, no, let this play out.
Yeah.
That was cool. But yeah, and then at the end where they kind of like are in a grapple hold and they just kind of stop. It's like, I don't even know who I am anymore, says Hugh, and Vox like, do you think I do? Like, it makes their characters more similar than different for that. So that's actually really well done.
Yeah, it was a good setup and a good payoff. Although I like the entire bridge crew is there, so I guess they're on second shift because like most of them, like there's just the two main ladies at the front that aren't, but all the rest of the bridge crew, including the android who's apparently eating with the crew. Arium, whatever, I don't know. But it was a good fight. It was a good simple fight. Like I say, very raw. It's good. And then they get another fisheye, and then Captain Pike, sort of telling off Saru, but really sort of asking. I mean, you watched it. You let it happen. Why? He's like, well, I mean, in my opinion, it was better to let them.
It was cathartic. Yeah, it had to happen. And besides which, the Starfleet manual offers no regulatory guidelines on humans with Klingons grafted onto their bones or doctors that have come back from the dead. Such a snarky little remark, but at the same time, well taken, because Pike's kind of like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not really being insubordinate because they're kind of joint captains in a way. So I kind of like this back and forth.
Yeah, I said in our review I thought it was one's tiny toe out of line because they're both captains, but one's actually a captain, one's a commander, so they're joint acting captain, but he outranks him, so it doesn't make it better. And most captains wouldn't take that; they'd be like, and they're not really friends. Like you never get the sense they're friends; they're just colleagues.
He gets the last word in though by saying, "Let's to uniform code of conduct when it comes to violence aboard ship." Yeah. And this is actually the scene in the next one where I wrote lots of lens flares because there's lots of lens flares on this Discovery, this hallway scene, like really distracting ones.
They're starting to. I think. Well, it's Kurtzman. There wasn't any at the start of the season. Kurtzman's in. There's now lens flares. I mean,
oh god. He
was like, "Let's do that again," and it works well for this next scene with Pike and Vina because it does create an etherealness. But they should be used sparingly at the least. They're certainly they're getting more and more obnoxious. They're not distracting in that they like obscure the entire screen like JJ's do, but they're getting more and more visibly there, and it's like, why? Because that's a good reason.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but this.
Stephen Fathery puts in $5.
Oh, thank you.
Enterprise had a lot of canon issues out of the gate. NX-01 not being a Daedalus class, even though it should have been something else, not NX-01.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Shut up, Alexa. Phase pistols instead of the cage lasers. Red, blue, and gold division colors being... Yeah.
Well, first of all, NX is before Daedalus, and Daedalus existed as well. And there wouldn't be cage lasers, because cage lasers were like 100 years later, so you wouldn't have the same phases for 100 years. So that's silly. Sorry. That's maybe Daedalus, but that was because I told them not to. But it's fine. It's a different ship anyway. Just Daedalus would exist somewhere. So no, and phase pistols certainly not.
Venus shows up and takes Pike a little bit by surprise.
Little bit.
Safe to say.
I have a good frame of pure I shit myself. Raw I shit myself. Yeah. This was a big surprise to me. I mean, what did you think when this started playing out? Because I thought they were going to be brave, confident to not do anything like this, but they went effing full on with this. What did you think?
I was kind of surprised by it personally, but I thought it was well done because here we get a sense that they've spent a lifetime together as far as she's concerned, because she's done a lot of role playing, I guess, with Christopher on the planet, at least his image. But it's great. It actually shows that he's thought about her multiple times. He felt bad for her having to stay there. He wished that she could have come with him. I thought it was really well done, actually. It kind of makes the menagerie feel a little bit more impactful for me now. Kind of this, he's getting to be with the person he loves. So is she. It's not just he's there as a last resort because otherwise he's a cripple. It kind of adds more credence to that. So I kind of like it. But it was well done.
A fun little side non-super chat question from Mr. Trent 100. If the Telosians could project that far, they could easily take out the starbase.
Exactly.
Is there even a starbase there? Is there always a bit of fake starbase?
I can see them building one close by to keep an eye on the Talos systems, make sure nobody goes in there, but not 2 light years. I mean, come on.
And not Starbase 11. That sounds like quite an important special one.
Yeah.
And it'd be a teeny little outpost. It'd be outpost.
Should be a listening post or something.
Yeah. Or like outpost 47. Outpost 103.
Joseph Petrick puts in €2 and says, "Play Despacito." I'm not going to say that because she will. And I hate you very much because my Sylvia's friend Sabrina comes over all the time and does that to my ALEXA. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to do it.
But yeah, I like this scene. I like also it without really doing anything major. It shows how powerful the Telosians are. That it can put a mental image inside Pike's brain that he makes him think he can touch her. I mean, she isn't really there, so he's touching nothing, and he's probably not even moving. Like, it's all presumably just in his head. But it's a nice thing. Although, like I said in our review, I think it overplayed a little bit of the possible love because, again, he was a captive, and he was always he was focused on getting his crew safe, and then he had to leave. It might have just been Hunter's performance, but I don't think at the end of the episode you were meant to think, God, I really fell in love with that captive prisoner. God,
it's something that might have marinated over time. Like the more he thinks about it, the more the guilt of leaving her alone there, and the possibilities of what could have been had he stayed. I think. Yeah.
Well, that's why I think the spark of and also that incident being the thing that took him out of his I might retire soon, and so what's a better way to say, well, I was gonna move out of retirement, maybe have a family, although Vena's an odd choice, obviously. Because you have to stay on that planet. It's not exactly, but yeah, he saw something in her that he liked at least. But I think it should have been more. I mean, it is obviously I miss you. She says to him. But I think his was a little bit overplayed, especially if you've watched Cage. Although I guess with the last time on, because I do think this show assumes you didn't watch Cage. Yeah, this show is not pitched for Trek fans. It's pitched for people. And so the short start bit is enough to know who Vena is and that they might be in love. You don't know. Go and watch Cage, you're like, well, maybe, no. But it's not for those people, even though you can also enjoy it for the reference. So it's a nice scene, but I think 25% too much love. But I do really enjoy the... It's funny how so many times that's appropriate, but I do love the communication thing. I love the rationale, like... Section 31 will be tracking our signals. We'll communicate via ultra long range telepathy, and it's true. As soon as they start moving, Section 31 finds them within seconds, and is already with them at warp, implying it's faster than by a lot. Because otherwise, how could it catch up to them? Just saying. But I do like the communication technique, and it's fun, and Spock's there, and it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, and then the next scene is the mess hall and the little cleaning bots. For some reason. We've never seen before or ever again.
Well, I think it's the same.
That's okay.
I think it's the same 3D model they used for the.
Yeah, the ones that Jet Reno made.
Yeah, I think it's just that 3D model again, which they never used again because I feel like I feel like they forgot about her now.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a nice scene. Stamets is like, you should get your hand checked out, and he's like, I'm not going to get it checked out. I can feel it. I'm not going to fix something I can feel. And then Stamets is like, let's just go home. And Hugh's like, it's not my home anymore. Please, Paul, just move forward and let me do the same. So it's basically a breakup scene. And then it leads right into Stamets to engineering. Even after Stamets is like, okay, we'll break up kind of thing. And it's like Stamets to engineering. So I kind of feel bad for the guy in a way, but interestingly paced.
Although, again, not engineering. I wish they wouldn't say engineering because it's like, it's not engineering, stop confusing people. But yeah, it was such a breakup scene, and it's interesting how Hugh walks away from him in the last scene, and how he just walks away, doesn't say bye, doesn't say anything, just leaves. Nope, done. Just time. You gotta give him time, at least. And then they try and spore, and then you see Ariam clicking lots of digital buttons, and suddenly the spore drive doesn't work. I'm convinced that's the moment she did it, because obviously she's not in with the plan, but she's that quick and efficient. She understands everything. I mean, she was the bridge spore technician. I think that was the point of her character in season 1. I think they did a...
Yep.
Yeah,
she's the one that initiates the spore jumps.
Yeah, so she's the best person to sabotage it, and I would totally buy that quickly.
Yeah, and he's like, we're jumping into Talos. It's like a restricted section of the Alpha Quadrant, and everybody like is looking at him like, that's restricted.
Yep.
Hit it, Ariam. And then the Duotronics are mentioned.
Yes.
And then the Tyler comes on the bridge. What? The spore drive's down. What? And it's mentioned about heavily unauthorized, heavily encrypted transmission, authorized with Tyler's command codes. To which Pike says, you know what? I know Section 31 has basic neurological tech, so it's possible that you aren't even you aren't even aware you're doing it if you are, or they extracted the information from your mind and somebody else has your codes. So there's a few different situations there, and it gets confined to quarters. So that was a fantastically well played scene. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, no, it was not. They did jump a little bit to conclusions, but I mean, it would have worked slightly better if it was 2 episodes ago and he had prejudice against Tyler Vok. Security codes. I mean, I'm sure the security codes are in the database. A good person who knows tech can find them, and I'm pretty sure they actually mentioned that Tyler has access to everyone's command codes anyway, because he's security. So it's not unreasonable that someone else could also find the same. So, that itself is at least damn bit of evidence. But I mean, we've got to pin on somebody. But it was well, did you notice that Pike said Terran mind device, implying that Giorgio gave it to them? Didn't say whatever, it was Terran specifically, and that word is only relevant in Mirror Universe terms because we're all human here. Okay, none of us except Pike, or the 4 of them, but yeah, it's good that he didn't just complain or bitch at him. It was like, look, son, you might not be responsible for it. Yeah, good captain again.
I love how he takes his badge too.
Yeah,
I expected it to go beep, beep. I'm not calling you guys. It's okay. I'm just taking his badge off him. All right, just ignore this communication.
Well, that's how he knew how to find them, because he clicked it. It was a communicator, and then signal sent. Although, as he leaves the bridge, he's like, one thing you have to know, even if I'm not guilty, is that they'll find you. And he's like, nah, it's fine.
Yeah, and then he plans on setting a course for Starbase 11, which is 2 light years from Talos. It's awful. Yeah. And then halfway there, because we're going for repairs. Halfway there, we're going to change course. Midway and just run silent so that Section 31 can't find us. It's a good plan, I guess, but
yeah, it reminds me of a thing earlier on when first scene, and this annoyed me a little bit because whatever, we'll get into a second. So. Michelle Giorgio says to the admirals, Burnham's smart. She hid her warp trail and disabled the transponder. She's smart. And they said, we can't track her then. So if it's that easy to mask your warp trail, why doesn't everyone do it all if it's that easy and you can't find them because they said just end of story, we can't, then Pike should say, mask a warp trail. Beep, beep, beep. Masked. That was easy. Yes, sir. It's just a button you press. Mask warp trail.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a bit weird, and so... to think that we'll run silent. But so what, are you going to stop your warp trail? You really think the starbase can't detect you? You really think they don't know your route? I just found it a bit funny that he thought that was a thing that was going to happen, because it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Next scene's on Talos, which is nice. This is where we find out exactly what Burnham said to Spock.
The
whole
epic conclusion, Stuart.
Little Spock's like, I love you. You're a Vulcan you can't love. You're cold and distant like a moon somewhere. Don't want you in my life. Stop following me, you weird little half-breed.
And that's when Spock does his cry, because it's young Spock being played by old Spock.
Yes.
And what do you think of the epic reveal as to why two of the three sons and daughters of Sarek don't talk anymore?
It's kind of what I expected happened, to be fair. And everybody says that this really hit them and they teared up, and I was like, no, it's fine. Little Spock does a good job acting, though. Gotta say. But you can. I love the term half-breed, though, because it kind of ties in when Kirk has to piss off Spock, and he calls him I think he calls him a half-breed, actually. Anyway, it's just it was a good scene. Well acted, well played. I love the changing of the actors. Sometimes the kids, sometimes the adults, mix of both. Really well done, as far as a memory flashback goes. So, and it kind of hurts a little bit, but she couldn't expect him to never talk to her again because of this. She's got to realize he's smart enough that once he gets older, he was going to understand that she did it for his own good and that she didn't really mean it. It was the only way to get him to stop following her at that point. So I really thought it was well done.
Yeah, I love the changing transitions of actors, because as soon as Burnham swapped with the as soon as the young girl swapped with the main actress, I was like, oh, that's sad. The young one doesn't get a chance to act more of the scene. But the fact they keep alternating, I thought was lovely, because it is a memory, it is fake, and obviously the old ones have more power in their performances. But obviously, creatively swapping was smart, and yeah, I think it's an underwhelming scene. I mean, he's young, but you can certainly imply from the Vulcan culture that everyone is just a slightly more intelligent than human, and he's got the emotions as well as the logic, as well as the whatever, and so yeah, and yet
I love how he's like, safe as a relative term.
Yeah.
It's beautifully done. It was really good. I was impressed.
The lines are good, just the power of what they mean would be a falling out for a couple of years or months. It wouldn't be a lifelong, because this isn't when she runs away to the forge, is it, surely? Because he does save her, so he obviously doesn't hate her enough, because they still live together after this. Like, I've forgotten the timeline of who goes where, but when does this take place?
I think this was either the night that she ran away or just prior to that. Another night where she went out to sneak out or do something.
But he still chooses to save her, though, if that's the case.
Well, yeah.
But might not have.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't think it's... like I said in our review, they couldn't quite make her be really mean, because this is the hero of your tale. You can always say horribly ultra racist and horribly negative and punch him, and the headlines would be, wow, they really made Michael Secret Modern Green punch Ethan Peck as Spock. The new Spock punching the old, that would be bad for press and publicity. So they made it sort of as best as they could. But yeah, like the current Spock is like, I knew what you were doing. It made sense. But so it's not the fact that what she said. It's the fact that she chose to go for personal attack and mean rather than logic, or, it was the choice to be mean.
There's some cool lines here. This is where Spock says, my constant had always been time itself, and now time has even failed me. That was a great one. He also said, don't attempt to psychoanalyze me, Michael. Many more qualified people have tried and failed.
Yeah.
Put her in her place. And then, it was foolish to idolize you, and I regret it deeply. That just cut her to the quick, because when you saw her face after he said that, like, yeah, you hurt me, well, I'm hurting you back right now. I mean, it's a little bit emotional of me to do, but hey, Well played, sir.
It's also satisfying for those that are, thinking Burnham is the golden child and we're trying to make him the best ever. It's a nice line to still have him be, somewhat powerful. Although I did think it was a bit strange to say that, for Burnham to say, what if I was the center of your logic and the center of your psyche? It's like, rule of the show, don't make Burnham the reason that Spock's centered. That's a really bad thing to do.
Well, they explained it well that they needed somebody that knew his timeline.
Well, we didn't go into that, but yeah, the Telosian, well, he in his broken state still is smart enough to put clues, whatever, to get Burnham there, because his time is all over the place. But the Telosians used her past, their connection point, to give him that focal point of time. This is the convergence point of the start, and now he's back to some extent, although not fixed. And he said he stripped away all different layers of logic and emotion. Everything's failed. So what am I now? I have to rebuild again. Which is interesting. Although then in 2 years' time, or no, like 6 years' time, he's in TOS, and for only 2 episodes, he's very emotional. So he gets himself back quite quickly. Good for him.
Jeff Jacobs puts in $3. I will help Ian. I will do 3 more if at 275 likes.
Oh.
So there you go. And then of course we get a scene from Star Trek Into Darkness, the Vengeance chasing the Enterprise through the warp tunnel. Exact same scene pretty much of the Section 31 ship following Discovery.
Why was Discovery pointed down like that?
I was wondering that myself. I just didn't want to say anything.
It's when
you go fast in a plane or a helicopter, well, not a plane, but a helicopter, you do this. Because the rotors have to cut into the air.
Oh.
So I guess they're assuming that's what's happening.
Could you imagine if Voyager always did this at warp? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Stuart. They don't care. Visual stuff is out the window. They don't care.
Why would we nitpick? Why would we nitpick?
Well, point out flaws,
Point
Stuart.
that out. Right. Oh, anyway, so this was great. This whole thing. Again, warping right into a system. They've done this a few times and just stop at the planet. In TOS, you always saw the Enterprise approaching the planet under impulse, even in the opening credits. Because you're not warping within a solar system is kind of dangerous. So they try not to do it. Apparently, that's something they do all the time here. So.
Although to be fair, it has got a more advanced warp drive than the Connie Mark 1, but it's slightly newer. But I this is a great indicator, and it's funny that we've stopped noticing it. But look what's happening. And sorry, that's out of context. But go back a few pictures. We see Leland, on the view screen as a flat transmission, and that has more power in this entire scene because you can zoom into him. You can the way the camera talks and the way the fact when Pike walks to the view screen and talks to him, that's more powerful than Leland being an out of context hologram in front of him just talking to Pike. Having him on a flat view screen as a signal flat works better. This scene is a better scene than if he was just standing there as a hologram. So they did it good. They're starting to pull away from that, and Pike didn't pull that tech out of the Discovery. I'm sure they see obviously in his ready room, but it's yes, good. View screen works better than holos. Good. Mm-hmm. I just appreciate it was a very well just the way they used it was far more clever and was better. Although I don't know if you noticed, but when they cut back to Leyland, it's Steadicam. The thing's actually shaking. It's why is the? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Just a choice, a wrong choice, but. Then basically they're trying to beam up Burnham and Spock to Discovery, but then the Section 31 ship also locks onto them. If you don't let go of them, we're going to scatter their atoms. Blah blah blah.
That confused me. Could you explain how that works?
I have no idea. It doesn't. So
because I'm pretty sure as soon as you start beaming somebody, they're in your buffer, and they start beaming first. So the Section 31 ship is trying to beam
they have more advanced transporters because they're Section 31s. They can intercept the beam.
But it's so instantaneous. It takes less than 5 to 10 seconds to beam somebody. and the signal, I guess it's flying through like. But you'd assume they'd be able to steal the signal. I mean, I don't think the unsound transporters work. Like it's more like a tractor beam. Like you've grabbed it and it's being pulled up, but it's like, although to be fair, it's all an illusion. They're in a shuttle, so it's irrelevant either way. So whatever happens to that, I'm sure the Telosians might have let them do that. Like, I don't know, because they're not really beaming. They can.
Yeah.
But does that mean the Telosians are putting fake matter into a computer signal buffer? No, it means that the Telosians are tricking their measurements to think they've got a Glock. And so why couldn't the Telosians trick the computer into thinking that Section 31 can do a sub-lock, which doesn't make sense in terms of transport tech, I feel like. Because nothing's happening. They're all pressing buttons, but they're not really pressing buttons. It's all an illusion. They just forgot how transporters work.
Hey, stupid. So anyway, yeah, they beam them into the Section 31 ship.
When Venus comes by and says, "Just let them go," rather than saying,
Trust me.
It's a classic cinema thing. She should have said, "It's fine. It's an illusion. It's all part of the plan," rather than saying, "Just trust me, Pike." Ooh. It's like, but what does that mean?
Way back, text says, "How can you beam an illusion?" You can't really, but you can make the transporter operator think that they're beaming an illusion.
Yes, that's the key.
That's the power of the Telosians.
Yeah.
They can make you work any button, do anything that'll destroy your ship.
M. Becker. Enterprise E also warped out of orbit in Nemesis. Yes, that film's not directed by a Star Trek fan. They didn't know Star Trek. He did lots of things that didn't work. That's a common thing. He directed that. It's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not fine, but that's what happens when you do a non-director that doesn't understand Star Trek.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, he decides to disengage the lock. They supposedly go to the Section 31 ship, and right away I'm like, that's an illusion. They don't have them. And Leland's like, report for to Starbase 11 for disciplinary action. And then takes off. And it's great. The scene is fantastic. Giorgio, you can tell the look on Giorgio's face. She knows it's an illusion. She knows that Leland's being tricked, and she's just relishing in it. She's like, "You weak-minded fool." And it really well done. I love this scene where she says, "Say goodbye, Spock." And I said before he said it, I said he should say goodbye, Spock. And of course he does, and it's beautifully done, and then the illusion disappears. So
yes.
And then the shuttle is approaching from the planet. So.
And it has a ramp that can appear from nowhere and just deconstruct. Don't know if you saw that.
I did. That's nanotechnology, I guess.
But yeah, Giorgio killed the entire Telosian people in her universe. What a gal. Although I don't buy that. I think they let her think they killed them.
Probably.
You know what I mean? I don't buy they were, I guess they could like maybe fire a warp torpedo from the other side of the quadrant, and then I doubt they could sense that. You know what I mean? That would be out of their realm. But
you're probably right. They're probably alive and well. Just they think that they're. Daniel Dunlop puts in $5 twice. I missed one super chat. Sorry. With Arium, the future, and modified cybernetic probes, I smell an attempt to tie in the Borg. Let's hope not, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, wrong source tech anyway.
Yeah. Again, he says, annular confinement beam has to lock on first. They might have safeguards to recognize the attempt to beam. They also the Telosians could have redirected them to lock on to rocks and have them think that they were people. So there was a physical lock from the transport beam.
Yeah.
So there's always an explanation for how that mind control can work. So
yeah, because all they had to do was just when the chief looks down, he sees a lock, but the coordinates are 6 numbers off. He presses beam. Both officers think they're beaming something, but they're not even. You know, it is. That's the nice thing about your mind. You can trick it in multiple different ways. You know. But yeah, so they beam them up, warp away, and instantly, as soon as they Telosian away, I was like, oh, so Leland's gonna just he's been gone from the planet less than 30 seconds. You know, to jump out of warp, turn around, jump back. I mean, he could literally be there in under a minute again. And I'm sure the ship's more powerful than Discovery. He could say, Pike, you tricked me, and the shuttle's not even in the bay yet. So I'm wondering why Leland just left. Like,
Yeah,
you know
just a
exactly where Spock and
plot-
Burnham are,
plot convenience.
and
That's all.
you can destroy them.
Yeah.
And you're an agent on the inside, and you have their command codes. You could do Wrath of Khan style.
Maybe the Telosians are making him think that their controls aren't working. Maybe he ordered it and we can't move.
Well, that's why it would have been smarter to have them like not disappear 1 second in warp. But yes, that would have been. It's another one of those things where it's a plot hole they don't bother to explain, which is a big plot hole because they're obviously not that dedicated to find them. I guess.
Yeah.
It's just, but yeah, you're right. All they had to do was like, for example, as soon as they Telosians disappeared, it would have been great to say, he shut up, "Helm, set course," and then she says, "Sir, our warp engines are down." What? No, they're not. Telosians. Sir, I'm getting no readings, and you go to the panel, and just, the entire bridge turns off. And it's like
Daniel Dunlop puts in $2 and says there were no rocks on the deck. Well, that's because you can tell the transporter operator that you trick him to think that he beamed it, even though he didn't.
It's mental
There's
stuff,
ways
guys.
to explain this. Yeah,
Yeah. Believe me, we've nitpicked a few things. We have no problem with that whatsoever. Wouldn't that have been cool though if the Telosians like think all their bridges have been turned off and Giorgio's like, "Damn Telosians," and that's why they didn't get back because they just disabled the ship. Because like you say, their range is quite good. They can easily just make those guys whatever they're right next to it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Anyway, this is where Giorgio's like, and miss seeing you explain yourself to the admirals, because she wants to see him get in trouble for messing up this again. We got a nice intro with Spock on the ship.
yes,
Where it's a different edit, better edit in my opinion. Are you smiling, Spock?
Yeah.
I believe I am. Yes. And he did an amazing job as Spock. I really thought his Spock was fantastic, way better than I had seen in the trailers. So, kudos to him. I want to see more of this Spock.
Yes. I liked his look back. Pike. It's like, this is weird. So I appreciate the internal consistency of, wow, this is weird. And I like. Yeah, Spock is interesting. I mean, I liked the actor from what I seen before, was it whichever show it was. I thought it was really interesting, and I do hope though that the beard was just a gimmick for the I hope they shave.
Should
now.
Be gone next time we see him. Yeah,
it won't be because that's his new Spock look. And I'm fine with it. If the next events happen in quick succession, okay, fine. But it takes less than a minute to go shave. I mean, if he changes outfit, he needs to go shave. Because it's Starfleet regulation. I mean, there's no one with a beard on board. But certainly, I'm expecting when Pike finally gets aboard the Enterprise again, you'll see him clean-shaven and in uniform, and that'll be the payoff. So I'm fine for him to save it for that payoff. But yeah.
What did you think about the end where it's like Discovery will become the most wanted ship in the galaxy or whatever? And he's like, I'm not going to order you guys to disobey orders. Course heading, sir. It's like they're taking a new turn on it now. Now it's like, now they're a rogue ship, and they got to avoid the authorities for the rest of the season, I guess, or until they get this sorted out. I don't know. I thought it was a little bit of a weird choice. I know they violated the Telosian space, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a bit odd that I think they wanted the same thing in season 1 of have them be in alternate universe, be against the whole universe. I think they wanted that vibe again for some reason, because they'll be wanted by Section 31 because Section 31 wants Spock's information to help them save the Federation. Like that's it. But you would assume that Cornwall and other admirals still have power over Section 31. So I feel a bit. I don't think they've quite set up why there'd be. I guess people don't kill each other in the Federation, so I guess Spock having thought to have killed 3 people is a massive crime. But I don't quite feel like, Discovery, the special ultra ship, savior of season 1, would suddenly be public enemy number 1. Doesn't quite connect for me. And you would assume that some officers would be like, but sir, this information could save the Federation. Can we just maybe try and work with Starfleet rather than mutiny? It doesn't. It feels a bit rushed. Like we need to be renegades for some reason.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite work for me.
Me either. But still, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next episode.
The camaraderie was great, and the fact that the cliche of having this long speech and them saying "We're with you, sir" is just cut short saying "Shush, where are we going?" It's nice. That's a good way of having something a little bit different. Yeah. And then, boy, we get a very full bridge shot. Then, then we get a very, very Voyager tile sequence. Warp away. I was like, oh, it's so pretty.
And if you look in the screenshot of the warp away, go back to it.
Yes.
On the left-hand side, you can see the TARDIS. The TARDIS is there as well. Joseph Petrick puts in €2. It was very first contact, the bridge scene.
Yeah. No, I can. Yeah. Yeah.
But you see the TARDIS? Do you see the TARDIS? I see the TARDIS.
Okay. So yeah. There you go.
See it? There's the TARDIS. You can even zoom in on it.
Oh, because the lens flare.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the finally warping into a star, the star effect. So jumping back to the start, we'll go through the pictures again, and that is episode 8, the triumphant return of Spock.
Yes.
A more respectfully canon approach to Trek, using it but not overusing it, not ruining anything particularly, which is great. Maybe too much tech when it comes to the shuttle, but that's just part of the course. It's a reboot of tech and stuff and bobs. We've now analysed it again. I think spoilers to the main review, but you gave the episode a 9 out of 10 in our edited review. I gave it an 8. What is your now closing thoughts, given we just did a full scene by scene, and now your new score, if there is in fact a new score? Go for it.
It is still a 9. Overall, great episode. I really enjoyed the callback right away, previously on, and lots of little things. Very well. It feels, as I kind of said, it feels like Discovery's finding its legs finally, and I'm happy with that. I'm looking forward to seeing more. There's done a lot of good course corrections, and I think it can only get better. I don't want to say that because it can get worse, especially if they revisit the Klingon arc. I don't care right now, unless they do a massive overhaul and fix of it. But yeah, that's kind of where I stand. I did enjoy Spock quite a bit in this episode. It was cool to see Vina and Talos and the Telosians again, and I really enjoyed it. This is one of my favorite Discovery episodes for sure, and a 9 out of 10 is pretty good. So that's where I stand. So
yeah, I mean, for me, like I said in our original review, I think I'm about the same. Is that this episode was great across the board. Had a few classic Discovery plot points and but that's just Discovery being Discovery. But the only problem I had with it is more just a pacing thing of I was waiting for that something to happen, that payoff, that something, and it just sort of it was a gentle roller coaster ride of this end. I'm like, oh okay,
yeah.
Last episode same thing, but it had the tell us for vroom. So that was the hook, and I was very satisfied by the last 5 seconds. This one didn't have that. So I just walk away thinking, okay, this is just a setup for another episode. It's just another step in the chain of the serialized. So while I enjoyed it, I'm not like blown away because nothing in it particularly was impressive or awesome, but there's lots of good. And again, they didn't do Discovery Season 1 of mistreating stuff. So it's like, what's there to complain about main-wise? It's just the small things, but that's just different team doing different things, and maybe not even rewatching Cage. Who knows? So definitely, like I say, a strong 8. It could easily have been a 9 with something at the end. I'm not sure what I would have needed. I don't get the ending, the last minute. I think there was something that could have happened.
It seemed to wrap up rather quickly, but at the same time, I remember watching it and thinking, oh, like we're 20, 30 minutes in, whatever. And it was like 8:53. It's like, this is almost over. It felt very very quick to me. It felt very short, but I think I was just so pulled into it. But it did feel kind of sloppy at the end a little bit.
Yeah, and like I said, the different subplots didn't quite. Like, it was, now back on Discovery, A plot, now back on Discovery, B plot, now back to the meat. So it was a kind of a little bit, like, I think the same problem you had with the Klingon episode. It kept jumping different plots, didn't quite...
Yeah.
But again, it definitely they're on the right track. I mean, if we'd got this season, instead of season 1, we'd be saying, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yep.
And they'll just get better. It's, obviously we're biased by the season 1 because, hey, that's what we were given. But I think this is probably the most, apart from the D7, which was basically spot on, like 10% different, I think this is the most respectful of the canon references, and I genuinely think, and you said this in our main review, they have enhanced the Cage menagerie connective tissue, because now Spock...
They didn't...
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, and they didn't ruin the Telosians. They didn't overdo them. They didn't have them saying too much. It was just the right amount of being in the background, observing, So yeah, I totally agree. I thought they might ruin the Telosians. I don't think they did at all.
Nope, perfectly fine. They weren't as Telosian as they could have been. I think they were more... They could have been any alien race, to be honest. At least at the Binars.
Yeah, they reminded me of a reimagined Binar for a while there, yeah.
So they didn't... I said before in our review, they didn't like, eke that style, or they didn't have the same mannerisms, the same voice, so which is not a problem. It's 3 years on, whatnot.
Yeah.
But it was good. It could have been cool in a few ways, but I think they really tried with this episode. And I honestly I think we're seeing the budget starting to shrink. This, ironically, I think more of a cheaper bottle show. Last episode was not one, but the Kelpian one was quite expensive, obviously, because they had the big set pieces and stuff, although also cheaper in some places. This one, I think, is quite cheap, but I think they had good character moments. They had good dialogue, because we've said so many times I'd rather have a 2-minute conversation than an action chase which doesn't mean anything. I think this was a great balance of little bits of CGI action. I mean, that scene in the middle where Spock's talking to Burnham, that first when she wakes up, it's just them and 2 walls. You know what I mean? It's cheap as anything, but it's a really great scene. And so I think they're starting to realise maybe with lower budget they can create more interesting moments. Right at the start of doing it, which is good. So, yeah.
Ian Warrender puts in £5. Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.
For almost 250 likes. This one's for the community. Great chat tonight. Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Aragon1962 says, Spock's emotionalism in the cage makes more sense now, I suppose. Not really, because that happened before this. So they're meant to connect this to Cage, but that doesn't quite explain why he's that, because that happened before. No, not really, but at least we do get direct Cage. And see, now almost we need to see the follow-up. We need to see, because think about it, as soon as Pike gets hurt, maybe Vina is transmitted to him, and she gives him the offer. Then he communicates with Spock and says, Spock, they're willing to do us another favour. Can you get me there? It becomes more... Because going from Cage to Menagerie is a bit like throwing fish in a barrel of, will they help, will they not? But now we know they are open to help. They are wanting to help, learn, and having Pike there for the full time, I'm sure, will help when it comes to memories and experiences, and especially as he's had several more years of experiences. Yeah.
Wayback Text says Red Angel was Tilly. I would be shocked. That is what I would want. I don't. It's not Tilly. I can pretty much 1,000% say it's not.
And I would 51% say it's not Burnham. It's so much smarter if it's not. You can do a great way of explaining it, but I don't think the best way is to explain it.
We have a few theories, and like I said, keep an eye out for videos this week where we talk about quite a few interesting things that we came up with. Worth a watch, and you can chime in on the comment section, because we did a good day of filming to get this stuff out for you guys. So Mac Lee puts in £2. Love your work, lads. Thoughts on episode 9 teaser? I haven't seen it yet because it doesn't air on Canadian TVs. So
I saw it. I was surprised. I was They didn't give much away, so the grander plot I don't know. I mean, can I talk about it? Do you want to know what happened, or do you just want to see it?
Yeah, I don't care.
Oh, okay. So the plot of that one is Arium goes crazy. They fly through a protective minefield of shredding mines that have 3 razor blades on them to the Section 31 home base. It's a space station.
Nice.
And Cornwall's there and says, "Welcome to Section 31 headquarters." And it's like, why the fuck have they got headquarters?
Is it Starbase 11?
I mean, that would be funny if it was, but no. And they cut to the starbase, and the robot lady is punching people, and everyone appears to be dead. So with a frozen thing, so my assumption from that, as they asked, is that Section 31 gets destroyed. Is it the place, because it's the same admiral dude with the tusks, the same Tellarite? Is my assumption that with that I mean, what greater threat than is there to the future androids than Section 31? So if you can get an agent to to hack into their starbase and turn off life support and kill everyone, that's a hell of a, So my guess is they basically eradicate most of Section 31's hierarchy, and that leads them to be a section, an organization that's more secret down the line. But they need tech from it, or blah 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 blah, and Cornwall's back. So I don't know. It's a very small snippet, but yeah, Arium is revealed and punches people, and yeah.
Cool. Not interested. That sounds of it. I'm not.
It's
sound like
yeah. It's I don't know. It's a bit weird.
Eugene puts in 500 rubles. Every good action and story direction suffers from production mistakes. This cheap cinematographic style is so overused and too on the nose. It is painful.
Oh, I don't know. I'm on the fence about that. What do you think first? Because I've got more cinematography in my blood. What do you think?
I didn't enjoy this episode. Its look overall.
Okay.
The weird establishing shot of Section 31, all the lens flares, the blown out backlighting on everybody. It was just not well done, in my opinion. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
What's the director's? That's the director specifically.
Oh well.
Well, it's because it brings their own style. I mean, every episode's been different stylistically, and you complained about all the different turn shots. But they had one in this episode, so I think in terms of restraint, they had one. So you can't complain too much for that.
Yeah, but it came in almost upside down and then did this. Why does it have to be so dramatic?
Yeah, I do those shots sometimes, but there's a could be know your boundaries. I kind of like. It's funny. I didn't notice the fisheye very much first watch, but rewatch it stood out like a sore thumb because I'm so focused on the content. Yes, so I think in that respect, it actually works. But when you notice it, you're like, "Holy hell, that's overused." But I think they want to do something different.
I think I wanted to focus on the Telosian mind control weirdness of the whole episode by making it all look weird. You're not sure what's real, what's not real.
The problem is that's not what they did. That would have been amazing if Telosians had been on the fence. They were making some illusions, some not. You didn't know who was real. You saw can you imagine if you'd seen Pike in his old uniform from Cage walk onto the bridge, or old Pike talk to new Pike, in the old uniform. That would have been cool if it was illusions, and that would have been really fun. But that's not important. Because then that style would have been really great. What's real, what's not. But it was kind of just I guess, just sort of distortion. So, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Mr. Poshny puts in £10.
Oh, my goodness, thank you.
Evening, guys, just arrived. Due to the alterations in the timeline due to the Red Angel, could that mean originally Michael died when Spock was a child, which is why he never spoke of her in TOS? Yes. Like we said, we have some videos filmed that are coming out later this week that talk about different theories about the Red Angel and that scene in particular as well. So keep an eye out for those and watch those. But yes, this could be an altered timeline because of her surviving.
Suffice to say, they gave us an out as the Discoveryverse, and it's interesting to see how and why. And this is not us, making it up or reaching. It's fully in the dialogue, and so I'm pretty interested. Oh, I think I just found the trailer, which I can send you because it works for me, so it's going to work for you. So you can take a look at that. It's called Project Daedalus, which is interesting.
Yeah, I knew the title.
Well,
I want to see a Daedalus class ship. Guarantee you I won't.
Oh yeah, of course I won't. Well, I like we see Discovery shields for once, because we never see their shields. And again, super zoomed in lens to make everything look more look more close together. It's a weird looking episode. It's a very it's weird. And here is the trailer in the chat. Oh, I can't do them on account. But yeah, guys, please put your questions, your comments now. We'll be on for a few more minutes. Still 288 people. 40 more likes and we'll get to 300. We'd love to get 300 likes, guys. We're so close. Do click that like button. Please do. Please do.
I just watched it.
Yes.
And it looks more exciting than you described it as, but I'm still not interested.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be one of those. I think it's going to be like, whatever. So, Eugene puts in 300 rubles.
Thank you.
Mostly teal and orange color editing. I see the picture and feel as if I'm colorblind. Looks like Protanopia. Protanopia. There we go. Okay. I didn't get that sense, but.
No, I was fine. I mean, it's yeah. To be honest, I never really noticed it specifically. I mean, they've been weird with the color palette in general, anyway. Well, they're doing a lot more of the oranges because they keep shining orange lights out of windows, and the color palette's just a bit different. So they kind of, yeah, definitely different this season. I mean, the entire visual style is different this season.
This one lacked a lot of red. Which is nice because there's been a lot of red in Discovery season 2. Sure, there was red when the planets were being exploded, but that's about it. Even on Vulcan, red was really toned down. So,
oh, I think Aaron Surf. Are you saying the new episode's written by the new co-producer? Yes, it is. Episode 9. Yeah, the new one is written by the new co-producer. So let's see if the new half head of the show is good at Trek.
We'll see.
We will see.
Not hopeful by the looks of it, though.
I mean, it's so little information. You know, it's so visual and action is cheap in a sense. There's no story to action necessarily. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of almost funny. I don't know if you'd agree with this, Stuart, but how little, relatively speaking, they're focusing on the Red Angel. Like, the grand plot is just a threaded framework. You know, every episode is about something else. It might be a journey to get there, but it's so focused on everything else. I don't know, would you agree?
No.
Well, it's one of the things you said is that you're enjoying the episodicness, even though they're all linked by a theme. Is that, well, they're all episodes. Like the threaded thing is so small that,
yeah,
relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking, I would say yes. Early on, it was more like the Red Angel was bookended on the episode.
Yeah.
It was mentioned at the beginning and at the end. Or the Spock thing was mentioned at the beginning and at the end. The middle was the other story. This one, they've kind of scattered it, though. Like, dropped the Red Angel and Spock things kind of more in the middle. So, yeah, I don't know.
Wayback Tech reflects one thing we said. I would have liked them to have reshot the opening part with the current actors and Enterprise just a visual continuity. It makes them two looks odd. Yes, agreed. Would have been fun. Would have been fun.
Yeah, we actually mentioned that in the other reviews. So,
well, I think against a
that
budget
would have pissed a lot of people off. I think too. Why did they refilm it? They could have just used the scenes from the original one.
Well, because
I can see people complaining about that. But yeah, it was probably budgetary and yeah.
Well, the fact this is previously on, does that make the Enterprise canon again in the Discovery verse? Does that make the uniforms canon? You know what I mean? It
should.
Well, it should not be canon. I mean, it's weird to have a new show have to re-canonize if they're already canon when they're basically on a canon that canoned.
What?
They just,
Anyway, So I'm less excited about next week. There's no hook. I remember last week I was like, I gotta wait. I gotta see what's going on next. And this one I'm like,
well, we're gonna see lots of Spock though. We're gonna see Spock being Spock, which would be fun. I don't know. We'll I mean, Section 31 Starbase is cool. Well, it'll be just a redress of the every other set.
Yeah, you think you're going to use Spock to mind meld with Hugh to kind of sort out what's going on in there, or even with Spock Tyler to kind of, because I mean it's possible now that you got a Vulcan with like Spock's mind meld capabilities on board.
I think it's a little bit rude to ask, but I mean if it's important to the plot, sure. I just keep remembering that in Enterprise, you know, a mind meld was a sacred, special, amazing thing. So doing them willy nilly is kind of like it's not a tool. You know, even though it can be a tool.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, I like this episode. It was it's nice to walk away from Discovery and say they didn't ruin that. You know, I think they've actually done well this season by introducing pretty much no new ships, no new tech. You know what I mean? Not doing the stuff that again got them lots of flack for season 1 because they didn't do any of it right. It's a D7. No, it's not. It's a Klingon fleet. No, it's not. It's Federation ships. No, they're not. You know what I mean? All these things. It's a starbase, kind of. Not doing any of that stuff is kind of like... It's just story, you know? Well, I'm wondering when the Klingons are going to come back because, you know, can you imagine Mary Schieffer? She's like, oh, I'm in 9 episodes of the new Discovery show, and then I'm in 1 episode of the new Discovery show. Oh.
Thomas Macaulay says Peck Spock is much better than Quinto's, and I totally agree. Totally agree.
I think Quinto had more comedic fun flair. Like, he has more charisma in that respect. But he was given lines that were very not Spock. This guy can perform the calm, unemotional lines with the darker emotion tone that Quinto couldn't. Quinto always had more emotion in his words than Nimoy did. This guy has a better balance of no emotion. What do you
think? Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think the Quinto Spock comes off more as a parody, more of a cartoony version of Spock because of that emotion that they force-fed him.
Wasn't that all of them, though? Cartoons and parodies themselves?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Kirk in bed with 2 women. Really?
Yeah.
You know, they're all parodies. Star Trek made by a non-Star Trek fan that never liked Star Trek. Good choice, guys!
I consider the 2009 Star Trek film more of a parody of Star Trek than Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Galaxy Quest is more of a homage to Star Trek, not a parody. And 2009 is just it's a funny parody.
Yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate this season Discovery is trying to be Star Trek. You know, season 1 didn't try and be Star Trek. It didn't even try and be DS9. So I do certainly appreciate that we're getting some of that.
Yeah.
They're certainly addressing more of what we wanted and needed. No, it's good. I mean, season 3, I hope for a season... Well, obviously, we've got a season 3 where, again, they have a good concept. They do the uniforms. Discovery gets a refit. They shrink the sets. They update them all again, slightly more colour. They refit the ship to be not a spore ship. They make it those nice cream colours, which will look smarter than the bronze. They lower their cells. They give them normal pylons. I think that would help the profile, make them upright. Swap the uniforms out. You lose half the crew. You make Saru either captain or second in command, or you bring number 1 as captain, Saru second in command. I think would be a good choice. And there you go, season 3. Even more Trek with a very Star Trek 6-esque 6 arc in the middle with the Enterprise, and you get all the cast back for the Enterprise with the bridge and the uniforms, and you have a, you know, Star Trek 6 a la double adventure. And there you go. That's how I would do season 3.
All right, guys. Well, it's been 2 hours. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes. He wants to be the last super chat, and then we can go. And I'm going to go edit tomorrow's video and Sunday's video because I got to do them now. We've got a special exclusive thing for tomorrow, so check that out tomorrow. It's a bit of an off the beaten path, but hopefully you guys will love it. Please, please, hopefully you'll love it. And we will probably do our Orville review, which I haven't seen the episode yet because again I've been doing this all day. Probably on Wednesday next week.
Probably.
Do our super chat live, and hopefully you guys will come and join us. We had a superb reaction yesterday and a wonderful reaction on Tuesday. Really reinforced the discovery the Orville fans out there. And boy, that was that live chat was a really positive, wonderful chat both those days. Really, really positive. So that was really fun to be part of, guys. I hope you'll join us back this next week for Orville, and again prove to us that we should do the rest of the episodes. There you go.
Even though Orville was lackluster last night. But anyway.
Okay.
Marvin R. puts in €2. Stargate SG-1 made fun of Star Trek 2009's idea before it even existed. There you go.
Yes.
There's your last super chat.
Okay. Thanks, Marvin. See you all. Well, tomorrow. You'll see us tomorrow. Probably. Maybe. But thanks all.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.